everybody, so back-to-back videos. Yeah, I know, crazy, right? But I did tell you I was going to do a book discussion on the first of 100 books that I'm going to try and read this year. Now, I am going to be doing other book reviews of books that I've read and I really feel connected to and I really want to talk about. So I am doing book discussions on those. But if it's going to be part of the 100, I'm going to try and put it in the title somehow so that you know, okay, this is part of her 2014 goals. Oh, this is just a random book review. And I hope you guys don't get sick of me because I'm going to be doing a lot of Jodi Picoult. I love her as an author. And I'm really excited about some of her current book that she's got coming out called Leaving Time. Super excited about it. I can't wait for it to come out. I'm like dying in anticipation. But anywho, back to what it is. So if you saw last night's video, you saw the whole 2014 goal list. And so you know what this is about. So today I'm going to review Jodi Picoult's The Storyteller. And this is the hardcover copy of it. I don't really have a preference between hard copy and paperback. Actually, that's a lie. I prefer hardcover because, where's an example? See, the problem is all of the books that are on my bookshelf right now are ones that I'm going, like, ones that I want to read. So none of these are, like, beaten. But, for example, I have her book 19 Minutes, which is another one I'm going to do a review on. It's paperback. And holy crap, that poor book has been beat. Ugh. Bless these books' souls. So, anywho, today is going to be The Storyteller by Jodi Picoult. There's going to be a lot of spoilers in here because I'm answering the book club discussion questions that she has on her website for each of her different books. Now, for The Storyteller, there are 57 questions. I obviously can't answer that many. Trust me, I tried, and it was like 2 hours long, and I can only do a 15-minute video. So I broke it down. I'm down to like 23 questions. So let's dive right in. Let me just read you what the inside cover says real quick. Okay. Some stories live forever. Sage Singer is a baker. She works through the night preparing the day's breads and pastries, trying to escape a reality of loneliness, bad memories, and the shadow of her mother's death. When Joseph Weber, an elderly man in Sage's grief support group, begins stopping by the bakery, they strike up an unlikely friendship. Despite their differences, they see in each other the hidden scars that others can't, and they become companions. Everything changes on the day that Joseph confesses a long-buried and shameful secret, one that nobody else in town would ever suspect, and asks Sage for an extraordinary favor. If she says yes, she faces not only moral repercussions, but potentially legal ones as well. With her own identity suddenly challenged and the integrity of the closest friend she's ever had clouded, Sage begins to question the assumptions and expectations she's made about her life and her family. When does a moral choice become a moral imperative? And where does one draw the line between punishment, injustice, forgiveness, and mercy? In this searingly honest novel, Jodi Picoult gracefully explores the lengths we will go in order to protect our families and to keep the past from dictating the future. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on, so it's kind of hard to read. So the big thing that he confesses, this is a spoiler, you don't want to hear, turn it off right now. Okay, you're gone. Great. Is that he was a Nazi during the Holocaust and that he killed a bunch of people. So, that's the big secret. Or is it? So, okay. Discussion questions. So, number 5, discussion question. Obviously, baking is more than a job to Sage, page 19. Do you have a job that transforms you as baking does for Sage? Yes. Anything I do with kids basically turns me into a completely different person. That and, you know, doing theater, which is what I got my degree in. Both of these things, I'm different. I mean, with acting, it's obvious. You've got to be a different character every time you put on, you know, a different person's body. But when I'm with kids, I am so much nicer. I don't cuss. I don't yell. I don't really raise my voice. Like, I'm night and day. So yes. Number 9, sharing a memory with someone is different from reliving it when you were alone. Page 41, discuss. I agree. when you're sharing a memory with someone, you can kind of give that disconnect between you and what you're telling them. It feels weird not wearing my ring. You can kind of have that disconnect of, okay, I don't actually have to live in this. I can just recount it and separate myself. But when you're thinking about things all by yourself, you're hit a lot more heavily with those things. For example, I can talk in public about my grandmother. She passed away in October from cancer. And, I can talk about it private, like, with other people, and I can handle it. Like, I don't, it takes me a good bit to break down and, like, dwelling in it for a really long time to break down if I'm in public talking about her. But in private, like, when I'm taking a bubble bath with my glass of wine, I think of my grandmother and tears, just ugly, sobbing grossness occurs. So I would have to agree. It's very different when you're sharing and versus reliving. 14. When Jews were being taken by Nazis, many Germans turned a blind eye. How easy would that be to do? It's easy. It's easy to pretend what is happening right in front of your face isn't there. You can turn a blind eye, but as another favorite author of mine, J.K. Rowling, says, people can choose to hide in dark corners. They can choose not to see. And I would be envious of those people, but I don't think they have any fewer nightmares than I do. So you can turn a blind eye, but I think your subconscious will find a way to haunt you with whatever you're turning your eye to. I know for me personally, I went to a high school that had the top special ed needs program in the county. So most of the special needs students came to our school. And as a result, these special needs kids, they're trying to incorporate them in normal school to give them that sense of normalcy. And I went to school with a bunch of jerks too, and these kids would like make fun of the special needs kids, and the special needs kids would be laughing because they didn't know any better and they didn't understand that they were being made fun of. So I had a point. I was one. There's my point. Found it. I was one of the people who said, no, that's not okay. You can't do that to people. You need to. No, that's not okay. Don't do that. I didn't turn a blind eye. I spoke up. 16. If my grandmother could reinvent herself, why not Joseph Weber? Page 67. Have you ever had the opportunity or desire to reinvent yourself? Did it work or help? Yes, I did. When I went into high school, I was really shy and reserved and didn't really speak up much in elementary and middle school. When I got to high school, I said, I'm not going to let people bully me anymore. Like, you're not going to push me around. And I very much did that. A chick threw my backpack in the trash can, and I turned into Hyde. Hyde. It was an interesting day that day. Nobody ever messed with my crap again, by the way. 18. Leo has a passion for his job as a Nazi hunter. Why does he think it's important? Because he wants people to know that you can't get away with murder. If you kill people, no matter how many years it's been, we will find a way to find you. Point blank. 19. If you hide long enough, a ghost among men, you might disappear forever without anyone noticing. It's human nature to ensure that someone has seen the mark left behind. Page 98, discuss. I think that means you can hide. You can completely disappear if you want to. But human nature is to tell you that you want what you've done to be known. You want people to know you are the one that did something, or you are the one that is responsible for this, that, or the other. So you're gonna, reveal yourself one way or another. 23. Sage wonders, my grandmother, had she been one of those who walked toward the gun? Was it a mark of weakness or of courage? Page 124, discuss. In that particular part, she's wondering, stepping towards a Nazi who's about to shoot you, is it a mark of, you're brave and you're willing to face your murderer head on? Or is it weakness? Is it running from the situation? I think it's of courage. It takes a hell of a lot more balls to step up to somebody and say, go ahead, do it. Do it. And know that chances are they could kill you. Versus to just turn your head and pretend it's not happening. To just turn the blind eye to it. Joseph Rayner's brother, Franz, says power isn't doing something terrible to someone who's weaker than you. It's having the strength to do something terrible and choosing not to. Page 146. In what ways does this reflect upon the actions of Reiner, Franz, and Sage? Reiner, the one who's the military man, Joseph. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and tell you. Joseph isn't really Reiner. Joseph is actually Franz. Joseph is the wimpy brother who wanted to stand up but didn't. He's the one that says, so Joseph is the one that says this quote, not really Reiner. I know, confusing. Sage, I don't know. I don't really know how it reflects upon the act. I mean, I do, but I don't really have the hour it would take me to thoroughly explain it to you to explain it. Reiner, he doesn't have what this quote says power is. He has the strength to do something terrible, and he chooses to do so because he's told that he's better than everybody else, and he believes that crap. Franz, he has the power to do something terrible, and in some ways he does, and in other ways he does not. He does not do something terrible because he does end up saving Sage's grandmother, which you also find out that in the book that he did have direct contact with her grandmother. And theory is that he knew who she was all along, and he sought her out after seeking out her grandmother. And, anywho. Sage, I don't really know how I feel about her. Anyway, moving on, because I'm running out of time. 28, morality has nothing to do with religion, she says. You can do the right thing and not believe in God at all. Page 187, do you agree? Yes, I do. You don't have to believe in God or, an afterlife or anything to see a woman getting mugged on the street and try and stop it. You don't have to believe in God to see some jerk beating his kid to go up and make him stop or to call defects or to call the police. You don't have to have that faith to be a good person. Sister Wives, actually, tying in all of the things, Janelle said, does one religion make you more morally sound than the other? I don't think so. I think you're a good person because you're a good person. I don't think your religion has anything to do with it. And I agree. 29. Who is the author of the fairy tale? What purpose has it served for her? The author is Sage's grandmother. And it serves as a coping mechanism through the Nazi regime, but also as a way to just deal with life, a coping mechanism for life. When she's writing the story in the beginning, everything's happy-go-lucky, everything's nice, and then it takes a turn, and it turns to darkness. And that is how she copes with the Holocaust. 32. What is the importance of having Christian papers? If you were Minka, Sage's grandmother, would you have used them? The importance is if you have Christian papers saying, I am a Christian, I was, baptized in a Christian church, I believe all of these things that Christians believe, you weren't a Jew. You weren't a part of this, this horrible selection, if you will. No, I would not have used them. Same as Minka didn't. I would have pretended they weren't there. I'm not going to abandon my family and escape punishment. I know that if my parents, same as Minka, had my parents known that I had them, they would have made me leave. No. 33. What does Reuben do to save his son? What does Bassa do to save Reuben? How have their circumstances changed their life? Reuben illegally trades to get medicine for his son, and Bessa goes down on some Congress dude to save Reuben so that he doesn't have to be shipped out somewhere. Their circumstances have changed their actions because neither of them would have, lied and stolen and done sexual acts with anybody but their husband had they not been in these circumstances. 34. What is Har Fassbinder's intention in demanding more workers, especially mothers and children? Do you believe that he should be laundered for his actions or condemned for not doing more? He's trying to save mother and children. He knows that they're the ones being sent away. And if he can keep them in the shop, then they're protected from this purge, if you will, for lack of a better, more gentle word. I think that he did what he could do under the circumstances. Had he done more, he would have brought too much attention to himself, and then he would not have been able to do good at all. But because, what he did do, he did sort of under the radar, he was able to save more people. So, I think that he did what he could in the way of being able to continue to do more. What happens to Major when he and Bessa are hiding in the cellar? What does Bessa do? He dies. That's number 36. He dies. She accidentally smothers him because he starts crying and coughing, and she presses him into the alcove of her neck to try and silence him so they're not caught, so he's not taken, so he's not killed. So in trying to save her son's life, she kills him by accident. 38. If you had to pack your whole life into one suitcase, what would you take? The only things I've really been able to come up with are, what did I say? My family pictures, and my charm bracelet. I guess I would take my family tree. If I could take all of my books on a Nook or something, I would take all of my books. A journal and a pen. And family heirlooms, important documents from my family's history, important family jewelry, those sorts of things. 39. While working in, I can't say that, going through luggage, Minka comes across her father's suitcase. What does she do to her father's sweater? Why is this a pivotal moment? She unravels it, and I think it's a pivotal moment because she says, no, this was my father's sweater. I watched my mother knit it and hurt herself trying to knit it, and no, nobody's gonna frickin' wear this but my dad, and he's dead. So screw you, I'm unraveling the shit out of it. 40. Why does Minka start stealing photographs? What does she end up using them for? She starts stealing them because she wants to be the keeper of everyone's memories. She wants to remember people who were taken. She ends up using them to write her story down on the back of them, an effort that if anything ever happens to her, the girls in this particular camp have something to cling to, some kind of hope, a story to hold on to. 44. There was no black and white. Someone who had been good her entire life could, in fact, do something evil. And Nina was capable of committing murder under the right circumstances, as any monster. Discuss. That's in the fairy tale. It's saying, if you have to kill somebody, you're capable of doing so, no matter how good of a person you are. You can be the most devout Christian in the entire world, but if somebody threatens your family or your children, and you had a gun in your hand, you could pull the trigger and keep them from harming your family. 49. If you knew you were going to die, wasn't it better to choose the time and place instead of waiting for fate to drop on you like an anvil? 335. Discuss. Not necessarily. I guess if you really feel that there is absolutely no hope of survival, I can understand why you would want to choose the time and place. You would want to have control over that. But for me, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Even on my darkest days, I know it gets better. There's hope. You gotta have faith that things are going to be okay, even in the shittiest circumstances. 52. When Leo and Sage are in the temple, Leo watches the crowd and says, "This is why I do what I do." What does Leo mean? Page 376. He means that he finds Nazis and hunts them down and prosecutes them so that Jews can feel safe to practice their faith without fear of another Holocaust. Just a quick one. 53. Forgiving isn't something you do for someone else. It's something you do for yourself. 435. Discuss. I think this means, he explains you forgive somebody because the evil of hating somebody eats away at your soul. Hating somebody doesn't do a darn thing to them. I mean, it doesn't affect them in any way because they don't probably even know that you hate them. It's to save your own soul and your own heart from that. 45. What do you think Joseph really wants to be forgiven for? Considering he is actually Franz, the wimpy brother, and not Rainer, the big man, I think he really wants to be given for not taking a stand and not saying, no, this is wrong and I'm going to oppose this. I think that's what he truly wants to be forgiven for. That and for killing his brother. I mean, yeah, his brother was a total douche, but he let his brother die. Alright, and finally, 57. There are groups that say the Holocaust never happened. As we get farther and farther away from World War II, fewer people are alive who would remember. Why is this story still irrelevant? Because those who don't know their history are doomed to repeat it. if you don't acknowledge and accept that this did happen, that it is wrong, and that it was bad, then, you know, nobody's going to be able to keep it from happening again. My grandpa was in World War II, and to this day, he does not discuss what happened, pretty much. The most I've ever been able to get out of him is when I had to do a project in high school on a war veteran, and I chose my grandfather because he was a World War II vet, and, you know, my grandfather is now dying. So, if I ever find that project, I will be one happy lady, but something tells me I'm never going to be able to dig it up. Back then, I didn't realize the importance of the project, and now that I'm older, I do. So there's that. That is officially book 1 out of 100 book reviews for this 2014 year. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Storyteller is really a great book, and I really encourage you to go pick it up, used or new, and read it. And let me know what you think in the comments below. You guys have a great day. Also, you can see where to follow me if you want to in the comments below. We'll see you next time, guys. Bye.